Welcome to episode 46 of the Out on Loan podcast. As always, I'm your host, Chevy Canova, joined by, for today, the big three, as always, Kieran Keneally and D. Isaac Hausen. Fortunately, no Reacher today, but I think he should be back by the time we get back onto the episodes for more World Cup content. But, boys, we're almost here for the World Cup. We only have, 4 days left. Thursday kicks off between Mexico and South Africa in Mexico City, and I'm just excited for the World Cup to finally be here. But finally, we can do some World Cup content. We can give our predictions, our analysis. But before we go into giving our predictions for the group stage tables, like just the tables in general, please give as much love to Robin Sona's pictures. Shout out to the Stone Pictures for all the help that he's done, for all the content that we've done for the last few months, and then obviously as well for what's to come with this World Cup. But Karen, I know me and Isaac kind of gave a little bit of like a little preview when we were doing our trivia last night for a little bit of World Cup stuff. How are you feeling for World Cup, man? I know that's kind of bummed out still for earlier the year. We couldn't make it down there, but like, how are you feeling with just like the games and stuff? Because I don't know, it's approaching. Does that season's now here, and just curious to get your thoughts, man.
Uh, I guess mixed emotions. Definitely, like since it's getting closer, I'm more excited. Like you see more promotions. Like the Nike football ad the other day. That was really cool. That got me excited. But then like there is a lot of controversy in this World Cup. I can't deny that. So I have mixed emotions of like I'm excited for it, but I know there's a lot of backlash for it. We criticize South Africa, Russia, Qatar, but I think the US should be equally as criticized for what it's doing. But I'm gonna try and enjoy it as much as I can this summer because it is once in a lifetime having a World Cup co-hosted in your home country. You don't know when the next time that's gonna be, so I'm getting more excited for it.
No, I completely agree, and I think Isaac would agree too. I mean, we've been very critical of the nation. I mean, you've heard me off camera. Been very critical of just everything going on around the world, and mainly that has involved our country. But and it's really hard, and I don't blame people who are like, no, I'm not going to support this. I don't blame you guys. I completely understand. This is politics is probably bigger than a lot of things. It's the mainstay of like the way life functions in today's generation and society. So I don't blame you if you're like boycotting, protesting it, not going to watch it, not excited for it, going to be very critical of it. I completely understand. But just for us, like, because I love the sport, I love some of the players that are on there, and just for the entertainment factor of it as well, as we escape the pits of what life brings us. A little bit of football doesn't hurt to get away from the realism that is the world, and it's I'm excited for it, man. We'll try to enjoy it the best way we can. But there's no denying that there will be complaints throughout this World Cup. There's no denying that there will be some protests. I know the here in LA, I think the SoFi Stadium workers, I know they're probably going to go on strike. I sent that to Kieran earlier in the week. And I think today they're in full motion to pull that off. So I don't know how that will be ready by, I believe, um, Friday, because I think Friday is when the USA plays, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll see in the next few days how that will pan out for some of the games, because obviously people's going to need to make their money and stuff like that, especially with the group stages and the USA playing here in LA. So I don't know. It's going to be curious to see how they deal with that. But enough of that. Group stages are here. Any of you boys want to go first for any of your tables? I guess we'll start off with obviously Group A. Um, but anybody want to share the screen, or you want me to just share the screen? I'll give my predictions first. I'll give it up to you boys.
Oof.
If you want to go first, Jeff, then share your screen. I'm all
All
right
right,
with that.
got you. Let me pull up my thing real quick. Oop, no, not that one. Let's get this one right here, and I'm gonna try to zoom in the best way that I can, just so I don't spoil my other picks. Uh, let's see. Pull up this right here. Third, and then, oh, fourth right here. All right. Hopefully the other people can't see it, but have this up right here. So we'll go with Group A. We got Mexico, the Korea Republic, Czech, and then South Africa. For me, boys, I think it's very simple for me. I got Mexico coming in at first, home team. The energy's there. From watching a few Mexican content creators that follow the El Tree, I've heard a lot of positive things about Mexico. They're coming in with youth, depth, bit of experience, excitement. Obviously, with it being home court. and then just some exciting players that have been killing it in MLS, like I believe in Hormiga from Chivas. I know he's been killing it. Quinones has been amazing for Mexico from what I've seen in some of their games that they've played against some of the European teams earlier in those friendlies. I think the midfield is rejuvenated with some of their players that I heard has been a staple. I think the back line has gotten more experience. They got a replacement for Memo Ochoa, so they got some depth in there at the goalkeeper position. So you have experience, rejuvenation, home field advantage, attacking depth. I think they're bringing in four very good strikers at this World Cup as well, slash a winger to it, and Quinones. I think that's how you pronounce it. Yeah, I just see Mexico topping in first, Korea coming in second. I think they were undefeated in their qualifier rounds, and they have Sun and all those experienced players from past World Cups. Czech coming in at third, and South Africa coming in last. And yeah, that's what I got. I think Mexico, Korea, and Czech Republic. But who do you guys got? I can probably make the edits here while I'm you know change it up right here.
I mean, when I made my breakout, I have the same thing as you, Jeff. I predicted Mexico to finish first,
Okay.
basically because they are a co-host nation. They're going to have home field advantage. I think that's going to work massively toward their favor. I also had South Korea second. Like you said, they had a really good qualifying campaign that should give them momentum to at least finish second, if not third. And then I put Czechia at third. They
Yeah.
beat Ireland in March to get here. They had a good run. They have that momentum of qualifying the World Cup. I mean, I also just admittedly don't know a ton about South Africa's team, so I kind of pencil them
Yeah.
as being like the worst or the weakest team in that group. So I have the same prediction as you.
Definitely. Isaac, any
Yeah,
disagreements or
I flip flopped. I have Czechia. I have them in second. I have Korea Public out in third, but I have Korea, I think, highly contested because I think it's what, like 8 of the third place teams will move on into the next round. So I do have them
yeah.
being one of the ones that would make it out of that next round, if not one of the highest to make it out of that next round. But I was impressed by Chechnya during the qualifications. Even that match against Ireland, I think in these like high stakes games, when it's gonna, I mean, they've been used to it. They've been playing in that, especially through qualifications more recently. They've sort of been more trained to sort of go into these in one out games. And like you said, same thing for South Africa. I admittedly don't know much about the squad. I think I joked beforehand. I think if one of the reasons we let in so many South Africans into the country recently is just because we can have more fan support for the World Cup, which I saw some jokes for that online as well, which was pretty funny. But yeah, basically the same. I think Mexico's home field advantage is going to be too strong for the rest of the groups in this, but flip flopping a 2 and 3 for compared to you guys. And Jeff
Yeah.
is muted.
Yeah. And I was muted. Sorry. No, I was in agreement with. I think we're all in agreement with the top three. We just don't know much about South Africa, but I'm very curious to see two or three. I don't remember who's gonna. I think Mexico. Yeah, so that first matchup I think is between Korea and Czech. Like that's the
Yep.
first match for those two teams. I think that's going to really be the decider who comes in second because, like again, Mexico will go against South Africa, and I think they comfortably take that. And then we'll see for the rest of the tournament because I think they all lose to Mexico. No offense, but yeah, it's really going to come down to that first matchup between those two. I really couldn't predict. I think they're both strong teams, and we'll just have to wait and see what goes on with them. But we'll move on to Group B. Isaac, I'll let you go for. I think we'll kind of flip that way. Like we'll let
Yeah.
you go first, and then not Kieran, and then me again, and then we'll go back to you. But since I have it here, Group B, um, who do you got, Kieran? I mean, Isaac.
I'll keep the momentum going sort of with the host nation picks. I have Canada in first here. I think that's just going to be such a huge advantage for any team. And we're going to see, I think, even we Latin American and South American countries as well, and just sort of the fan support they're going to naturally have in this country or their ability to travel. I think that's going to be huge for a lot of these teams, and I think you'll see it in my later predictions. So, I mean, I'm going Canada first in this group. I'm going to go Switzerland in second. I think just for me, for another strong World Cup nation throughout European qualifications and sort of just from what I've seen from them in the World Cup in recent years, they have a strong squad. And I think compared to the rest of the teams that are going to be playing in this group, I'd take them over Bosnia Herzegovina, and I think we'd all take them over Qatar. And I think mathematically that sort of just leaves them in either a first or second place, depending on where you kind of compare them for Canada. I do have Bosnia in third. I think they're going to have a lot of fan support. I think I talked about it in yesterday's episode, sort of where they landed. I think in like sort of wherever they were, they were shocked by the amount of fans that greeted them at the airport. I know I talked about St. Louis being a huge hotbed for them and one of the largest populaces outside of Bosnia in the world for where they live. So I think they're really going to be able to feed off this in this tournament, and that'll leave Qatar in fourth.
Yep, Kieran.
Yeah, I mean, I basically a little bit different than Isaac. I had Switzerland at first. I just think, like Isaac said, they're a strong team, experienced really in terms of the past couple World Cups and Euros. They do well. Have some very good players like Xhaka, Kobel, for instance, Akanji. So they have some quality players. I don't know. I put Canada at second. I just wasn't feeling them for some reason. I kind of have a bad feeling with Canada that they might disappoint a bit in this tournament, but I think they'll still get top two. I also had Bosnia third. They had a good qualifying campaign when they beat Italy to get to the World Cup finals. That was a huge achievement for them. And then Qatar, like South Africa, I don't know a lot about Qatar, but based off the last World Cup where they hosted, they didn't really do a lot. So I think they'll finish fourth again in their group.
I think the big thing for Qatar as well is they haven't played a lot recently. I was looking into it. I think they've only played like 2 friendlies really leading up to this. I think they've had a lot of stuff canceled. I was just looking really at FootMob there. So I think that as well is going to hurt them, just not having a lot of time to mesh together and play together recently.
No, I completely agree. And a disclaimer for our listeners and readers, our listeners out there. A lot of these like a lot of these teams, from what I'm also criticizing too, and I'm putting ones over the other, is the fact that I look at their friendlies and who they've played, what's their form looking at, how did they look like in the qualifiers, because friendlies really do matter to just see how talented they are, how dedicated they are, their depth, and all this type of stuff. So, and yeah, I think Isaac, I'm gonna follow that trend too. Where like there's gonna be some of these teams where I'm like, who have you played against since last year or this year alone? You haven't played that many teams. You've played against, no offense, teams that are nowhere near the qualifications of like a Switzerland, a Canada, Bosnia, even. So, and as like the screen shares, I'm kind of close with Kieran as well. Like I think Switzerland will come in first, just because of the depth, the experience that they've had, the qualifying run that they had as well. Canada, because of the home team, I think they'll have that advantage in a way for them. Davies is going to be there, Jonathan David as well. I think they have some players in there, but like I just don't think they'll be fully into it. I don't think it'll be similar to what happened in 2022, where it was just like Croatia and Belgium thrown in, and then you have Canada who just won. Like I don't think that's going to happen, because I think Switzerland and Bosnia are. I don't think have the talent nor the experience like those other 2 teams back then, but still, I think Switzerland are going to top them, and then I think Bosnia will give them a fight. Would I be surprised if Canada come in third? No, absolutely not, because I just don't fully trust Canada. But I'm giving the home field advantage, and then obviously Qatar coming in last as well. So I think me and Kieran shared the same group, and I think you have Isaac having Canada finish on top, if I'm not mistaken. So that's some good predictions right there. The next one, I'm excited for this one right here, because this is almost like a little bit of a group of death for Group C, which is Brazil, Morocco, Scotland, and Haiti. Kieran, you want to go? Take your shot.
Yep. So it won't be a surprise. I had Brazil in first. I mean, they have some very, very good players in the squad, all over defense, attack, midfield. They also have Carlo Ancelotti, so they finally have like a top coach to lead this group, and he knows how to win major tournaments. He's done that his whole coaching career. I think that'll help them finish first by a decent margin. I also have Morocco second. Technically AFCON champions, although not really if you think about it. But they're still a very, very good team. One of the strongest African. I mean, they were for a while the number 1 ranked team in Africa. So they have a very good, experienced team, especially from 2022. That, magical run they had is definitely going to help. I have Scotland in third. I know it's great that they're here. It's the first time in decades they're in a World Cup. Don't think they're going to quite have the level to finish above Morocco, but I think Scotland in third could be one of those 8 teams that get to the round of 32. And then I think kind of by default, I put Haiti in last. I think they'd probably be the weakest of the 4 teams, but maybe they could put up a decent fight against Scotland and Morocco. But yeah, I think they'll probably finish fourth.
Isaac?
I have it looking exactly like this as it sits right now. I think for a lot of the same things as well. Going into sort of some picks later on for some Golden Ball, Golden Boots, and so on and so forth. I'm very high on this Brazil squad, despite sort of maybe their form and sort of how their qualifications went. I think there's a lot of still on that. And I think they're a team. I think they're always going to be a team that's like very like hot and cold to pick, in the sense that I think you're either going to get it very right or you're going to get it very wrong in terms of their performance. I think you're going to hit it on the money that they're going to come in and be a strong side and be challenging for a World Cup. or yeah, they're a team that maybe you're picking. They could flame out maybe some of their defensive liabilities at moments, or just even maybe recent sort of just ways we've seen them in recent comps. They haven't been able to sort of get over the hump, especially in terms of other compared to other South American teams. But I still don't doubt them here. I think this is another one where I'm looking to the first game, Brazil versus Morocco. I think the winner of that game is going to be the winner of this group. I'm not sleeping on Morocco in the slightest. It would not shock me if Morocco top this group at all, for a lot of the same reasons Kieran just said. I think that leaves Scotland in third, so just because of I think how much I rate them over Haiti. It's great that Haiti's here. I'm very excited. I think especially the fan support they're going to get here is going to make a lot of those matches very interesting, especially that Scotland matchup. That's going to be a very fun one to watch. I think that will be in round either 1 or 2, because I think Brazil finishes with Scotland in this matchup. So that's going to be even an interesting game, because depending on how Morocco plays them, you're going to have Brazil and Scotland maybe needing to play each other for a result between second or third, and that's going to be a really fun match. But overall, I have it sitting just like this.
Yeah, no, I think we went perfect 3 for 3 on this. Same thing. I mean, this is my table pretty much, but like I'm having it as an example just to remember the teams and stuff. For our viewers out there. But yes, I have Brazil first, Morocco 2, Scotland third, Haiti last. Shout out to Haiti. I mean, great run, but I just don't think the other three have the talent. And I think for Scotland, I put them above too because I think they have the experience with some of the players that are in there, the physicality too. And I just feel like there's going to be more. For some reason, I just feel like there's going to be a big group of Scottish fans going crazy at this World Cup as well for like the history that they bring. So I can't wait to see the Scottish out for this. Brazil, Morocco, kind of gonna reciprocate what Isaac said and agree with as well. That I would not be surprised. And this was a tough one to put because Brazil, I think, just lost Wesley just a few days, just today. I think they announced that Wesley, their right back, who I was excited to see, will not be in this game. So I'm very concerned for them in that aspect. I think defensively they got weaker. So I would not be surprised if Morocco pull through and get the result. I just feel like with Carlo there, with some of the attackers that they have, the form that they've been on recently, with some of the friendlies that they've just won, like I think they just beat yesterday. Who was it that they beat? Yes, I'm not remembering too well. It was some big team that they beat. Um, it was some team that they beat, but they've been on. They've been on the scoring stretch a few with. I think Endrick got some goals. I think Vinny has been performing recently really well. Um, but it's gonna really who's gonna finish first is that first matchup, and I think if this was a last matchup, Grant, I would have 100% put Brazil as the first place finish because I like the teams to get a few reps against the lesser opponent, like the least favorite teams, like a Haiti or Scotland, get a result there, and then get ready for like the big matchup. But these two are going head to head first matchup, so I don't know. It could end in a draw, and I can see Brazil just narrowing it through because I think they can absolutely smoke a Scotland and a Haiti with the goals and the offensive power that they have. But don't be surprised if Morocco pull through because they too have the talent, the experience, the coaching, and yeah, just the talent as well. I think I've already said that, but I think the talent from Morocco and the experience too is just really big for that team. But we're gonna move on to the next group right here. I think this will be the USA's group, so I'm funny enough going to do that last because we'll do that as like an ultimate last one. But skip through. We're going to go with Group E, which is Germany, Ecuador, Ivory Coast, and Curacao. Um, I guess I can start off with this one. I think Germany's going to top it off here. Ecuador second, Ivory Coast third, and Curacao coming in last. I was really torn between Ecuador and Ivory Coast because I've heard some good things about Ivory Coast with their defense, the physicality that they could bring in a matchup against Ecuador. And I think we kind of saw it when Ecuador last World Cup played against another African team in their group, which is, I believe, Senegal. So it's going to be a tough one for Ecuador, who I think are the favorites to finish second because they've had also a dominant World Cup qualifying run. Their defense, Hincapié, Moises Caicedo. Who else is in there? William Pacho's in there as well. You have Ender Valencia still running the show, which is a big question mark around their team, which is the attack. But I'm just gonna give it to them. I think they have the experience, they have the defense, they have the energy. They're gonna have the fan base too. I know so many Ecuadorians are here in the states, especially in New Jersey. So I'm gonna favor them. But watch out for Germany too. I wouldn't be surprised if they have another slip up moment in this World Cup, only because they've lost a few players in there as well. And I don't know. But I gotta favor them. There's no way they go 3 years in a row, right? Just not getting out the group. Like, there's no way, right? Come on, this has to be the year they kind of get out of that. But yeah, and I think Ivory Coast are going to put up a fight as well. I think defensively they're solid with some of the players they got, and they'll have some fans in there too. And Kurugao, like I'm just sorry, like you guys don't not enough talent compared to the other three. But Isaac, you want to take a shot at this one?
Yeah, I have it. Same thing. I have it sitting just like this. This, I think, outside of. I want to make sure I get the right group name. I think Group I. This was like the most difficult for me to pick. I mean, some of that USA Germany game soured sort of some of my taste with. I think this German side. I think I still think they're going to be able to go in and get a good result. I do very much agree, especially now with the system of 3 teams getting out of a group. Most likely, I don't see a world where Germany doesn't get out of this group. But I don't know. It's just kind of like it's going to be interesting because I don't know. Ecuador would not shock me by any means if Ecuador tops this group. I think Ivory Coast can present a challenge, and I think they're teams that are very much on a similar level. I think I'm leaving Curacao out in fourth. I think just comparatively, it's going to be a tough time. I think it's really a conversation between these top 3. I don't know. Ecuador was a strong side. I know they've been in some decent form as well. I think I want to say they placed above Brazil as well in their qualifications. I could be wrong there. Jeff, you
Yeah, I just no, they finished second in World Cup qualifiers, so that's why I'm having a tough time too. Because I think defensively they're so solid, but that offense, I just don't know if it's going to be enough. But yeah, go ahead.
No, that's it. I mean, like you said, it's and you have some question marks there with the other 2 sides between Ecuador and Ivory Coast, just sort of how they're going to match up, and that leads me to leaving Germany in first. But again, not another one where I'm not shocked if Ecuador or tops this group.
Right. Kieran?
Yeah, I mean, I have the same table as you guys. I think Germany, they have the best squad here out of the 4 teams. I know they just lost Carl, which is a big miss for them in terms of an attacking player, but I still think they have a good amount of players in the squad. I mean, Kai Havertz, he scored against the US yesterday, and we saw in the 2 Champions League finals, he scores in those big games, which you're going to need in these kind of games in this tournament. I also just think Germany's quality will be too much, I think, for the other 3 teams in this. I also had Ecuador second. Like you talked about, their defensive record was really, really good. I think, what was it, only 8 goals conceded in the qualifiers or something around that. I mean, having Pacho and Capier, Caicedo, that's like a 3-headed monster right there in defense. I think they should be really sound there. I'm excited by Ivory Coast. They have some good players. Yan Diomande, he's had a good season at Leipzig. Ahmad Diallo, he's had moments of quality. Even Frank Cassier in midfield, he's a good player. I mean, they beat France last week. I think it was their first ever win against France. Yes, you're right.
Absolutely, they did beat
So, I mean,
I'm telling you.
About friendly.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think Diallo had I was their leading goal scorer in the African Cup of Nations last year. Like they're going in on good form as well. This is a team that plays well together.
I'm telling you that second and third place is tough for me because
it's gonna be tight. It might be by like goal difference, honestly. It could be that close.
I think Germany play Ecuador last. So who did Germany open up with? No, they opened up with Ivory Coast.
So that's right
match day 2. No, I remember now. I think Germany and Ivory Coast play first, so that's going to be a good test for Germany. But that match day 2 is going to be so massive between Ecuador and Ivory Coast because Germany and Ecuador play last, and I'd probably favor Germany and Ecuador, but Germany over Ecuador. But that match day 2 is definitely a must watch between Ecuador and Ivory Coast. I just think the physicality that both of those teams play with, it's going to be a good matchup, and I don't know. I can't I would not be surprised if Ivory Coast finished second. Just the teams and the players that they have, I don't know. I couldn't tell you, but yeah, man. I guess we'll just move on to the next group as well. So another fun one: Netherlands, Japan, Sweden, Tunisia. I guess Isaac, you want to go right because you're next.
Yeah.
Or no, Kieran. Or is it Kieran? Yeah, Kieran. You're next.
Yeah. I had Netherlands finishing first. I think they have a good squad. The Dutch, I watched the highlights of their friendlies. They played really, really well. Okay, they maybe didn't get the results, but they looked good. I mean, their midfield of Gravenberch, De Jong, and Reinders, it's got to be up there with one of the best midfields of the tournament. And they're very deep defensively. I mean, they have such a strong defense with Van de Ven, Dumfries, Timber, Van Dijk. I mean, they're loaded in defense and midfields. My worry, though, is the attack. I mean, they're still relying on Memphis Depay and Wout Weghorst to get goals, so I don't know how that's going to work with them. But in terms of you look at the rest of this table, I think the Dutch would have the best squad and should be able to finish first ahead of the other 3 teams. I have Japan finishing second. I've heard a lot of good things about Japan, that they've built a really good team that's been playing well. I think they could maybe potentially be a dark horse. We'll get into that later. I also just I don't know, with Sweden, I'm not too sure. They barely got into this World Cup. They basically crawled to get here. They were really, really poor in qualifying. I watched them lose like 4-0, I think, to Norway last week, which was not a good look for them. I think Sweden might be one of the 8 teams that get out of the group in terms of third place, but I don't really think too highly of them going to this tournament. And then I have Tunisia in last. I just think they're the weakest of the 4 teams here.
Okay. For me, same thing, Kieran. I went Netherlands first. I've been so high on that midfield and defensive area of that team. Arguably defensively, they're probably alongside Ecuador. Um, who else has a top? Oh, France as well. Besides, maybe that they're probably in there in the top three. I think they have a better defense than a lot of the top nations and favorites as well, with the experience, the youth, and just the physicality and pace that they bring. Solid manager in Coleman, solid I would say. Could have gotten a result against Argentina back in 2022. Obviously, Van Dijk is in there, and I think he'll have a better performance. Like players like that who've had a rough season, I think when it comes to the nations and everything, like to their national team and stuff like that, I think their form just goes up a bit more. And once it's a big game, like I trust them to like wake up and just perform. But their attack, yeah, I can see the concerns. Chevy Simmons hasn't been in great form. Depay, Weghorst, all this type of stuff. But hey, man, Gakpo's still in there as well. Who knows? Maybe they pull something through and they find something to click, and I think that will be enough for them to top the group and just probably take care of business. I would say not destroy, but I would say take care of business. Japan, experience, players, quality of the team. I think they go second over Sweden. I just haven't seen enough from them in the last few years in terms of their quality, in terms of the players that they've had. I know they got through the qualifying rounds and playoffs, but I just don't see enough in Sweden to really pull it through. I don't even think Isak is fully fit or ready to go or hasn't been on form, nor he has that experience or pedigree to really have that trust, even with bad form, to go into a tournament like this and just pull it off. So, yeah, Netherlands, Japan, Sweden, Tunisia, just not enough as well. Isaac?
Yeah, another funny one. I have the same exact standings. I echo a lot of the same things you guys just said, especially about that Netherlands team. I think I said it either in the last episode or 2 episodes ago. What is it like? Defense wins you titles, offensive wins you tournaments and championships. And I don't know if Netherlands are ultimately going to be able to go the distance ultimately because of that. But I do think because of how strong that team is, like you guys have said, in and out, I see them topping this group. Japan in second as well. This is a strong team on good form. I want to say I don't think they've lost since the U.S. match when we beat them. They have a result in there at least against Brazil. They have a result in there against England as well. I think a 1-0 win. They beat Scotland as well. This is a team that, again, just plays well together. And as Jeff has been talking about, sort of form coming into it, it has one of the strongest records coming into it. Sweden, again, I think there it's a comparison between 3 and 4. I take their quality over that of Tunisia. I mean, this is way back now. This is almost 10 years ago now. I still remember Sweden giving, I think, what was it, Germany fits in 2018. I think relying on that Kroos goal to sort of get that last minute winner. I was out to eat. I got home just in time to watch that. It was a phenomenal moment. But yeah, like again, echoing a lot of the same things you guys said. I think the quality is ultimately going to shine through for the Netherlands and Japan. And I also think it'll be tough for Sweden. I'll be interested to see how they compare on goal differential and see if they're going to be able to make it out into that next round as well.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe Tunisia pull off something special too. I don't know too much about Tunisia, which is why maybe I'm the casual here, and for a lot of fans be like, "What the hell were you not putting Tunisia?" Like, I'm sorry, I don't know much about Tunisia, but I think quality and the players are just gonna really pull through. But hey, watch out for Tunisia, man. I could see a Tunisia just really come in and pull through to get the job done. Who knows? So Sweden, you better watch out. So we'll see for that. Next group G, we have Belgium, Egypt, Iran, New Zealand. I guess I can go first for this one. I got Belgium coming in first. I think compared to the other 3 teams in here, I don't think any of them compared to in terms of the talent, experience, or roster that they have. But more importantly for Belgium, and I think Isaac kind of said it yesterday, the form that this team is in right now as well has been absolutely lights out. I mean, you have Doku, De Bruyne is still in there, Courtois is back into the team. I know defensemen are not the best still, but I mean that midfield as well, just led by De Bruyne, that's still killing it. there's just no one on this other team that I see just beating them. Like even if Belgium were poor in form, I'd still favor them because they just have too much talent on their hands. And then a toss up between Egypt and Iran. This was really hard for me because I feel like Iran is usually slept on in some of these World Cup tournaments. I know back when they, I think, had Argentina in 2014, they had a tough one. I know they gave us some challenge in 2022 for the USA. But I think Egypt, they have the experience. Salah's last World Cup, last probably major tournament ever, arguably. Um, some of I think they've had a solid defensive record from what I was reading and looking at for their stats. I think they topped the group in the AFCON and their qualifying team as well. So I got to go with Egypt there. And then I ran third, and then New Zealand. I'm sorry, Tim Payne. I'm so sorry. No, Tim Payne, we're rooting for you. Estamos apoyando Tim Payne, but Tim Payne power is not going to be enough for this team, for any of these other three teams. I mean, he's going to have the fan support, which is going to be funny and awesome to see, but I just got Egypt coming in second, and I ran third, New Zealand last. Isaac?
I have a swap of Iran and Egypt for 2 and 3. I had Belgium top in this group, same thing. And I talked a lot about their form yesterday. I think this is a team that can go maybe decently far, especially depending on how that bracket lines up and who they're set to play sort of coming out of the knockout or coming into the knockout stages. I know Kieran kind of hinted on some of the stuff surrounding like this World Cup into it. And I think that got really stirred up a lot, sort of the situation obviously developing around the Iran team with I'll just say a load of BS. I don't want to get too into it or else I can get into a little rant. I know Jeff wants to keep this show on time, so I want to do my best to be able to do that. Just a load of BS that they've had to deal with. And I think there's obviously always really two ways where that's going to go. It's either going to play into it mentally and affect the squad, or I think it's going to maybe play into how they play and sort of up the emotions in a good way. And I think the team's going to really be able to feed into that. Obviously, we know how close they were last time around. Obviously, sort of it took the U.S. with Pulisic sacrificing a certain part of his body to kind of really get us through. This is a team that has now been through that sort of heartbreak, and I think can kind of take a lot of the circles they've been dealt with from that last World Cup and leading into it and a lot of the noise around that and take it into a good finish with the result. So I could see them getting into a sneaky little second place here. In New Zealand, yeah, I'm sorry, just doubting the quality is where just there compared to the rest of the nations. I think most people will see New Zealand in fourth here.
Right, and I just also mentioned too with some of those things, the BS things are happening. If I'm not mistaken, their head coach was not granted visa access, I believe, so he will not be attending the World Cup, which is just complete bullshit in my opinion. But
and I think
hey,
there's
man,
something too where they have to fly out, like they're not allowed to stay there, and they have to go back to like Mexico right after the game. Like they're not even. It's some weird. There's a whole lot of stuff that they have.
A whole lot of weird.
BS.
But yeah, it's complete ridiculous. But no, I that's why I said these 2 or 3 were just tough just to see because I did remember that Iran might want to go in with all that. But Kieran, what are your thoughts, man?
Yeah, I also have Belgium first. I think they are by far the strongest team in this group. Their quality, I think, will just be too much for the other 3 teams. I like what you guys said. Belgium could be maybe a little dark horse in terms of we criticize them for not winning it in 2018, and we've said their golden generation's over. But they, I think, quietly have built another good team that could definitely cause problems. So I think they'll finish first by a good distance. I also, like Isaac, have Iran at second over Egypt. I think Iran, with everything that's happening in the world, the geopolitical situations and how they're being treated here in the US, I think they could use that as like motivation, like us against the world kind of thing. They have that camaraderie and togetherness. And I think it would be a great story if Iran could get out of this group and have a decent run. That would be an amazing story in terms of overcoming the odds. That'd be a great, great story. So I think I'll go Iran second, Egypt third. I know it's Salah's last World Cup, probably. I don't know a lot about Egypt, I'll admit. They just haven't been great in previous tournaments. I think that's part of why I have them at third. And then New Zealand and fourth. I know Tim Payne's got a lot of hype going to this tournament.
Oh man,
I think Tim Payne will actually score an own goal. That's my prediction. He's going to get 1 own goal in this tournament.
You think are you saying that correctly? You think Tim Payne, the king himself, the best player of all time, el mejor jugador del mundo, el rey de Argentina, he's going to score an own goal?
I just get this funny feeling that could happen. I don't know why. I just like could see it being like the next big thing on the internet.
Oh my god. Funny enough, I have him scoring a goal. I just see the gods giving it to him, man. Wouldn't that be? But Kieran, if you pull this off, are you putting money on it? Tim Payne own goal?
No, I'm not, but it would be quite the thing if I got it right, though.
Oh my god. Well, I'm definitely gonna clip this and we're gonna make that a real Tim Payne own goal at the World Cup. So misery for him and no joy for him. That's a bold prediction, dog. But I like your predictions, guys. That's a good one for this group. Tim Payne. You know what sucks too? I told Isaac this yesterday, but I wish I was in LA for the time being to watch that Iran New Zealand game. I definitely would have paid money for that, and I'm very curious to see how much the tickets went up for that game as well. Definitely would have loved to have seen that, but and of course, Tim Payne's opening game is in LA. Like you couldn't make that up too. Like of course it's in LA. Like it could have been in Kansas City. It could have been anywhere. Of course he's in where all the stars are born. So cool for him. Pretty easy group for here as well. Spain, Uruguay, Saudi Arabia, and Cape Verde. Let's try to breeze past through this one because I think we already know what's going to happen. But Isaac, you want to go?
It will look exactly like this. Spain is a very good. I'll keep it short and sweet. Spain, very good team. Uruguay, I think, just a step below Spain. Still a very quality side, especially in terms of where they rank in terms of CONMEBOL and some of the reason for them. I know they had that bad result against the U.S. I think 2 friendly cycles ago, in which that was one of the best U.S. results I've seen, sort of maybe in my lifetime. Question mark. Saudi Arabia, strong, I think, pedigree in terms of where they've been in the World Cup battles. I think there's a lot of to speak for that World Cup experience, and they just simply have it over Cabo Verde. Cabo Verde, another great story coming into this World Cup. I think another fan base that's going to be be out there and show a lot of support. Those are going to be yet again some very fun matches to watch. But yeah, it's going to end up like this.
Okay, Kieran.
Yeah, same thing. I think Spain will be first, one of the favorites to win the whole tournament. Have a very, very good squad. They play some amazing football. I think they should comfortably finish first. Uruguay, I know they don't have past legends from previous tournaments, but they still have a good squad. They have some very good players in this team. They should be able to finish second and handle the other 2 teams. I have the Kingdom Saudi Arabia in third. I think the last World Cup would have been enriching for them. They would have gained a lot of things from that tournament, and they could maybe be one of those 8 teams that gets out of it. And then Cape Verde in fourth. I know they're the second smallest nation to ever qualify for a World Cup. It's a great story, but part of it is that if you're such a small nation, you have a very small pool of players to select from in terms of quality. So I think they'll be in last place in this group.
Yeah, as the table has it here on the screen here, Spain first, Uruguay second, Saudi Arabia third, Cape Verde fourth. Cape Verde, beautiful story. Sorry though, not enough talent compared to the other 3. Uruguay probably going in second. I think their last matchup between Spain and Uruguay will be in the last matchup. I think that'll be the match day 3 for the group stage. So and that will be in Mexico City, which will be a blast to see for any Mexico fans down there. Here's my cool little hot take that I just popped up into my head. You know what? Back in 2022, I remember a certain someone woke up at almost 3 to 4 in the morning or pulled an all-nighter to watch Saudi Arabia come in as major underdogs and beat an Argentina team. Was it 2-1? And witness one of the greatest World Cup moments of all time and matchups in all time. Probably the greatest group stage game of all time, arguably as well. Who's to say that a certain Spain can follow in the same fate, where they're one of the favorites to win this whole tournament, probably 1, 2, or 3, and Saudi Arabia, who knows? History might repeat itself again. You know, match day. Who does Spain play first? If I'm not mistaken, is it Cape Verde or is it Saudi Arabia? I mean, it doesn't matter in my opinion, but I'm just saying. Who knows? Maybe.
I think Saudi Arabia, Spain first.
Is it? Can you double check that for me?
Yes.
Double check real quick. Because if that's the case, then I'm pulling it off right now.
Yep, Spain, Cabo Verde to open up.
Oh, Spain, Cabo Verde. Okay. Hot take. I think Saudi Arabia pull off Spain. There we go. 2-1. It's gonna happen again, but Spain are just still gonna pull through and just get into first place. But Saudi Arabia are gonna get a result against Spain. That's my little hot take. Fuck it. Why not?
You know, when Saudi Arabia beat Argentina, it became a national holiday in Saudi Arabia. Do you think they would make it another national holiday if they beat Spain? They create like 2 football holidays. You think so?
They will. You know why? Because of the political conflicts in terms of the sport, like the Saudi Arabian league versus the Spanish league, Spain playing in Saudi Arabia, all this type of fun stuff. Do you imagine if Saudi Arabia comes in as a nation and comes in and beats the Spanish national teams with Lamine Yamal, with your Pedris, your Rodris, your Ballon d'Or winning Rodris, your Kubarsis and all this type of stuff? Come on now. You don't think they make it another national holiday? Hell yeah, they are. So Saudi Arabia will get a win, and that will help them stay into third. But Spain will still get first. They beat Uruguay comfortably, and they might destroy Capo Verde like fucking I don't know how many, like 5-0. That's my hot take. Next group we'll go with Group I. One of the group of deaths, in my opinion. France, Norway, Senegal, and Iraq. Who was next in the list? I think Kieran, you're next to go first. Correct?
Yeah. I, as you see it, this is how I have the table. I think France, one of the strongest teams in this whole tournament. I think their depth is just insane in terms of attack and defense. So I think they will finish first in this group. Norway, though, their first World Cup in a long time. I think watch out for them. They had a very good qualifying round. They're in good form going to this tournament. They have some very, very good players, especially up top, like Erling Haaland. I think they have the quality to finish second in this group. Maybe it's a close game between Norway and France, but I'll put the Norwegians in second. Senegal, one of the best African teams, if not the best, based off AFCON. I think while I have them at third, definitely be one of those 8 teams to get to the round of 32. And Iraq, unfortunately, I mean, they had a great run to get to the World Cup, but man, they got shafted with this group. I think they'll finish last. I think Iraq will be fourth in this group.
Feel bad for Iraq, man. That sucks for them. Isaac. Oh no, that'll be me. Sorry, my bad. I got France coming in first. Yeah, I just see France. Too much talent. I don't care who they face. The only toughest one that I might see them go up against is mainly Norway, because I think their defense will be tested with the attack and the way Norway have been scoring goals for fun in these qualifying rounds and some of their matchups. I don't know the recent result or friendly against Morocco. I think they finished 1-1 if I'm not mistaken, but still Holland, Sorloth coming off to give trouble for Saliba or whatever, whoever else it may be. I just don't trust France's fullbacks against any of Norway's like wingers or attackers in that essence. And then Senegal third. I think they're the AFCON champ. I view them as the AFCON champions. I really don't care. I just see them coming in third and taking care of business against Iraq and maybe giving Norway a tough challenge, but I don't think there'll be enough in that opening game against France. And then Iraq as well. I wish Bolivia would have made it in here just because I think it would have been funny to have like another qualifying CONMEBOL team go up against like one of the favorites in France in another group stage game. But yeah, France, Norway second, Senegal third, and Iraq fourth. Isaac?
I have it this exact same way. I'll start first with Iraq. I think their just quality doesn't compare to the rest of these other 3 squads. Norway is sort of, I think, would be my hot take or my dark horse pick. I think just by comparison, I think if you pulled the average soccer fan, I think most people might have Senegal in 2 and France topping it in first. France, I'm not as worried by their loss. I think it was, like we said, to the Ivory Coast. I think it makes me a little bit more nervous or drops them down a peg, and maybe sort of my confidence of them to win the World Cup or go very far in the end. I think there it puts more into question. It doesn't question, I think, their ability to get out of this group through these 3 matches. Norway, same thing. Their attack is so deadly. And I think I've watched it with Lua, and I think the conversation has always sort of been around Holland. Is sort of what you can do on the international level when it comes to these larger awards. First, the Ballon d'Or, that's always going to be there. Not that he's going in there with that intention, but there's always going to be sort of that ramification, that sort of effect of it anyway. And also, though, knowing that these opportunities don't come all the time and trying to make the most. Like Kieran just talked about Norway's drought in that moment. I mean, there's a very good chance that you don't qualify the rest of your career just based off of how things go. We know it's the world of football. He could have an injury. There could be this. There could be that. There's a lot of things that could go wrong in the future. So there would really, I think, be a strong push to really make the moment that they're in there now, take advantage of being in here in 2026. And I think that's going to go through and show them some results. And for Senegal, I think I'm just worried based off of their result against the U.S. I think that's one where then I am buying into the friendly. So I know that could be a little bit hypocritical with what I'm doing for France, although I think I'm still taking their ultimate quality as the reason I think they'll shine through it. Senegal, I just saw them struggle against a U.S. squad. I mean, they ended up losing that match. Their offensive capabilities were on full display in that game, especially what they can do from the wood. Sorry, excuse me there. But top down, how they compare to the rest of these squads defensively, I think it's going to be more of a liability against them, and I think ultimately it'll see them in third.
Yep, Kieran.
No, I went first in this one, Jeff.
Oh my God, sorry.
Yeah.
So I think simply, yeah. So we all went same thing here: France, Norway, Senegal, Iraq. Apologies, there, dog. Um, yeah, I'm just curious to see that first game between France and Senegal. I'm excited to see how French the French will line up. I think defensively too. I'm just so concerned for this French team, which is just more so on the defensive side than in the continuity offensively. But I think they have the depth for like any injuries that can happen. I think they'll be fine. Group J, another easy one for me. I think Isaac, you want to go take this first as we try to zoom past all these groups.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain it looks exactly like this. Yeah, I double checked mine. It's exactly like this. It wouldn't shock me. I think 2 and 3 are going to be a very interesting competition. I honestly probably the 2, 3, 4 in this group might be the most interesting, just in terms of sort of their level. I think together, it wouldn't shock me the any order that shows up in this group that isn't Argentina first. Argentina is just, I mean, they're the defending World Cup champions. They're the best squad out of any of these four. Like, I don't think there's really much that needs to go into the decision for Argentina sort of in first here. Austria, another strong side. We and Jeff learned, what is it? Their ultimate, like their leading goal scorer is Arnautovic yesterday against
Arnautovic,
the
yeah.
Tourists. So that's a little fun, a little bit of trivia right there as well. So thank you. You learn something new every day. Again, I think that again it just stacks up to like just seeing the competition that they see in Europe compared to the other squads. See what Algeria and what Jordan see, I think is going to shine through. I think they'll be able to go in there and get the results they need to against an Algeria, against a Jordan. I want to double check and see who plays on that third day between each squad, because that's going to be very interesting. So it's Austria and Algeria actually to end it on that match day 3. So another one, keep an eye out on for that matchup. That's probably going to decide a lot of qualifications and where people are going to go. It's sort of into the next round. So very fun, but I have it looking exactly like this.
Yep, Kieran.
Yeah, same. My table looks just like this one. I think Argentina, defending champions, so they have that title to defend in terms of motivation, but their squad is definitely the best out of these 4 teams. I think 2 and 3 could be interchangeable. I put Austria at second. I think they're a very good team. I remember in the 24 Euros, they were first place in that group of death with the Dutch and with France and Poland. So they're
You're right.
capable of doing well against big teams. I think they're a well-coached team under Ralph Rangnick. They're known as a really good, intense pressing team.
I
I
forgot they
wonder
have
how that'll
Ragnick
do
though too.
in the
Yeah.
heat, though. That should be interesting. But I'll have Austria in second. I wouldn't be surprised if Algeria climbed up to second. North African teams tend to do very well in these tournaments. But for the time being, I'll put Algeria in third, and then by default, I'll have Jordan in fourth. I don't see Jordan doing what Saudi Arabia did and beating Argentina, unfortunately.
Yeah. Same thing. This is my table. Argentina first, as well. Experience, elite coaching. Messi still playing at a high level, I would say, from what I've seen. Rested up, playing in MLS, and just being ready to go. Obviously top first and dominating the World Cup qualifiers, only losing to I believe Uruguay in that run as well. To see them winning. Austria, I think they have the experience. David Alaba, Arnautovic. I think who else is in that? The dude from Sabitzer's in there as well. So there's a few big names in there that we know from this Austria team that, like Isaac says, has that experience to pull through. There's one more thing that I forgot to mention about Austria too. Oh, the other thing I have them second in is, again, I'm a big sucker for like what's your first matchup to get ready for, because if you're playing a big team, especially if you're not one of the favorites to top out, if you're playing against the big team first, it's just for me it's hard for me to get you into second because you're starting off really bad, your momentum might go down, your rhythm might not be ready, and then you're going in with much pressure into the last 2 games. But Austria, I think they kick off with I believe Jordan. So, and I favor Austria over Jordan without question. So that first matchup is going to be big for them to like get ready for the next game, which is I believe against Algeria or Argentina. So they'll build that momentum, that rhythm, that result to be like, okay, we just beat Jordan. All right, we know what we're doing. We know our style. Let's get into the next 2 games and close out strong. So that's why I got Austria, really just more so like who they're playing in first and then second and then wherever it may be. So yeah, I got that group. Then we have for group K, I believe it's another spicy one in Portugal, Colombia, the Republic of Congo, and Uzbekistan. I can go first with this one. Portugal, I mean, arguably a top 2 midfield coming into this World Cup. You have the experience in Ruben Diaz, Ronaldo. Um, they just won the Nations League last summer as well, led by Bruno Ronaldo, Nuno Mendes as well. They have Leao coming into this squad too. Pedro Neto, all those type of guys that will be favorable against the Republic of Congo or Uzbekistan as well. And then obviously you have the best player in there in Bruno Fernandez, who just broke the assist record as well. I just have them coming up first. I favor them in all these matchups. I think the only one will probably be Colombia because they are probably the top three. They were top three in the Coleman Bowl, so it's going to be a tough matchup. And they're probably going to have home court advantage for all of these games, wherever they might be, especially that last one against against Portugal at Miami. So whoever's going to that Miami Portugal game, shout out to you, man. The amount of hot chicks you're gonna see at that game, I'm just letting you know you guys are gonna be blessed for that game. It's gonna be fun. I wish I could have gone, but I'm not paying 2K out of my pocket to watch that. That's just insane to me. And then Republic of Congo, strong African team, went through the qualifying rounds, went through a bit of adversity. So I just have them over. And then Uzbekistan, I just don't think they have enough quality. So I don't know. Ronaldo, big story here. Maybe scores for like what would be his sixth World Cup, as we remember, Isaac, when we were playing that trivia game.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows, man? Sixth World Cup might break the record. Might score.
Can he finally get one in the knockouts?
Maybe get one in the knockouts. So Ronaldo has a big tournament coming up, but maybe Golden Boot for him as well if he just stat pads like crazy. Bruno might become the top assist record here. Might get some few assists here and there. Might get 4 to 5, especially with Uzbekistan and the Republic of Congo. I could see it. But yeah, Isaac, you want to go?
Yeah, I have it looking exactly like this as well. Portugal is going to be a heavy favorite to go far for a lot of people for, I think, all the right reasons, especially where we just saw what that midfield did. Most of that midfield did in a Champions League final, and then we obviously know Bruno's quality, especially the people on this show very much know Bruno's quality. Colombia, just another great squad top down. I had to watch a lot of Luis Diaz, obviously, this year. I think he's going to obviously be a very important part for that squad. I mean, 1 and 2, I think it's fair to say can be a battle. I think you obviously will probably take a Portugal probably when they play Colombia, but I think it's another one where if Colombia walk out with a result, there may be a draw, and then depending on how the rest of the bracket goes, maybe getting a first, I don't think would be shocking for a lot of people. Again, I think a lot of those teams are going to get a lot of great support in this World Cup, and I think that's just going to be another extra boost for them. I'll talk about it here first for why I have Congo in third some more confidently, I think, over Uzbekistan. We obviously have sort of hinted at the weather. I think going back through a lot of my picks, it would not shock me if a lot of maybe those European teams underperform, sort of as we've talked about, with maybe the weather getting to them over the course of it. I know, Kieran, you obviously brought it up with Ragnick style for Austria and that very high pressing, and now you're dealing with it in very hot, very dry climates, maybe depending on where you're playing. We'll see how that sort of works over the course of an entire tournament. Congo, don't think it. I think it's fair to say they're obviously used to some extreme temperature, especially back just sort of in Africa for any time they complete there. Shout out to, what is it? Tuanzebe's on that squad, I believe, correct? So we have another United connection there as well. I think, was it Bakambu? Is it Cedric Bakambu still on that squad at like age 35 as well? Another FIFA legend.
Legend. Villarreal legend.
Was he played for Betis now?
17.
I think he's on Betis. You think he's
yeah, he's on Real Betis, yeah.
Yeah.
Betis, yeah.
So I think he's just another great squad, and possibly another great squad for vibes as well. And then, yeah, that'll just leave Uzbekistan in fourth.
Kieran?
Yeah, I have Portugal in first. I think they're one of the best teams in terms of squads in this tournament. I think they have to be like a top 6, top 7 team in terms of like favorites to win it. I've been a big advocate for Bruno Fernandes. I think he is their most important player. I think he's going to be a key dictator for them in terms of creating chances every game. I think he should have a good tournament, especially when he has Vitinha and João Neves. That's great support. I think they'll finish first. It could be close. I think it's cool that Portugal plays Colombia in the final day. That might be like the match that decides first and second. But for right now, I'll pick Portugal first. I think their quality is just a level above Colombia. But I'll put Colombia at second. They are one of the top South American teams. They have Luis Diaz there. I think James Rodriguez is in that squad.
James is still in there as well.
Probably his last World Cup, which will be a big, big one for him. DR Congo, I have them at third. Of course, Tuanzebe, part of that squad. He actually scored the goal that sent them to the World Cup. They also have Aaron Wan-Bissaka, another former United player in there. So some decent defensive players. I think Congo will probably be one of those 8 teams, again, that gets out of the group in terms of round of 32. And then Uzbekistan, I have them at fourth. Don't know too much about them. I watched them play against Canada the other day. Probably the most boring game of my life. That was like the worst like draw I've ever seen in my life. So based off that, I'll put them in fourth.
Oh, fair enough, man. Yeah, no, I agree. I can't wait to see Bruno, Vitinha, and Jao Neves just kill it this World Cup. I'm so excited. That's arguably for me, I think the second best because I got to respect Spain's with Rodri, Pedri, and whoever else they have alongside those two, just controlling and physicality and everything. But I think with Portugal, like you said, the creativity in there with Vitinha and I think Bruno is going to be massive. But the physicality that Jao Neves and Vitinha both are going to bring in is just it could may arguably make them the best one, which I don't mind people saying as well. I can see it. I'm just excited to see Portugal. I can't wait to see them destroy Uzbekistan. Like I really can. They're gonna destroy Uzbekistan. I can see like a 5-0 win with a hat trick by Greece, goals from Leao, Bruno, banger, whoever, Vitinha goals. Like just gonna be a blast. Last one before we go into the USA as well. We got England, Croatia, Ghana, Panama for Group L. I think who's next? Kieran, I think you're next, correct? To start it off.
Yep. Yeah, so I have England first in this group. I know there's been a lot of question marks over Tuchel's selections in terms of the quality of that squad. Did he make all the right picks? But if you compare that team to the other three here, I think England are probably the best team. So I'll have them going in at first. I mean, when you have Harry Kane, that just gives you a way better chance of finishing first. I think he's probably going to be the top goal scorer in this tournament, so that's a big plus. Plus, I mean, Tuchel's a good tournament manager. That's a guy who's a great tactician. He sets his teams up to win these games. So I think England will finish first. I think Croatia probably should finish second. This is probably like the last World Cup for like that golden generation of like Modric, specifically him. So that'll be a motivating factor for them. Ghana will be an interesting pick. Maybe they're a decent team that gives Croatia a couple problems in terms of second or third, but I'll put Ghana finishing at third just because I think Croatia, if you compare them, are a better team on paper. And then unfortunately, I'll put Panama in fourth place for this group.
Isaac?
Yeah, I have the group looking exactly like this as well. England, I think the quality top down. And like you said, Harry Kane. I know there, like you said, I think there were some fair questions in terms of if you're looking at the squad for quality and strictly sort of maybe how they've been performing this past year for England. I think, like you said, you spoke about it with Tuchel being the tactician. I think he just built the squad that he best felt his tactics heading into that. And yeah, it's just a matter of think there then how much your faith relies on Thomas Tuchel. Do you think his system? Can you buy into his system? How he has England looking through these three games and sort of where that's going to gauge your how far they go in your terms of success. But I think the quality alone and how he's going to set up for at least these first three matches, the time he's had to game plan for Croatia, the Black Stars in Ghana and Panama, I don't see a world where England doesn't get it out at least in the top two, let alone first place. Croatia, same thing. I think quality compared to Ghana and Panama, definitely compared to Panama, there's a sizable step up, and like you said, I think there's a bit of that added energy playing for that last bit of the generation. And Ghana, the Black Stars, I have them in third. I think they're going to be a squad that's going to be able to get out into that top 8 and move on. They're just another squad it's fun to watch them in a World Cup. I think it's another one where we talk about these teams where like the Stanley Cup playoffs are better with the Buffalo Sabres are doing well and are in it. The NBA playoffs are great when the Knicks are in it and doing well. I think the World Cup's another one of those where you know it's going to be a good World Cup when you have a team like Ghana in there. I think they're always going to be able to show up and get some good results and have some fun, entertaining style of play. So I'm going to have them in third here as well. And yeah, sadly, that'll leave Panama in fourth. I just don't think they've been as good leading up to into it. They lost Brazil 6-2. And I think they had tied Bosnia and Herzegovina 1-1. I think I want to say heading into sort of the World Cup friendlies, but I don't have a lot of faith in them compared to their other three teams in this side.
Yeah, no, I mean, we kept the same table. I think England first, Croatia second, Ghana third, Panama fourth. England, I'm excited to see with Tuchel coaching this big team. I know there's big aspirations for him to finally pull it through and get them into that World Cup final and win it. And get a major trophy finally for this team, mainly a World Cup. I'm excited to see Kane and the Bellingham duo once again. I think now with the way that we've seen Kane play, the understanding to what type of player he is, and the way Bellingham thrives as well, I can't wait to see that duo kind of get better. Because we saw glimpses of that in the 2022 one. I think 2024 was in the Euros was just rough for them because I think everyone just didn't know what to do. With the question marks around Southgate. So just seeing that dynamic between those two is going to be fun in that group stage. Just Kane being more of like a drop deep type striker and Bellingham crashing into the box. Gordon, Rashford down there. It's going to be fun to see with their pace and electricity. Saka's going to come in, and I think he usually turns up for the national team as well. So I think he'll do better in that sense. And then just I just think their defense as well will be solid, and I think Tuchel will get it right. I'm confident he will at least until the group stage. I think. Croatia, old team. I think they have the experience, yes, but I just think they're older, and I think that's going to really not help them in that sense when they go up against an England, especially for that first matchup in the heat, mind you, as well. So and then I just have them in that first matchup as well, just England smoking the crap out of Croatia. But I do have them over against Ghana and Panama. Same thing for Ghana. I don't think they have those type of young players anymore to really pull through. And Panama just doesn't have the quality of a Croatia, even if they're old and stuff like that. So, yeah, man, I think that's for England. England finishing first, Croatia second, and that's all I really got for this team. But before we go on to the USA's group, and then we do real quick the awards before we end off the show. Just as always, please go out and follow Stone Pictures. Much love to you, my guy. Can't wait to do more content with you as we get into the World Cup. And then please, as always, follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok as well. But USA time, man. USA, USA, USA.
I have that like USAA, like the insurance commercial jingle stuck in my head right now.
Yeah. I didn't mean to do that, but that was stuck in my head as well. What's perfect here from the whole time we started off doing the predictions, Isaac, you can go first because you're next to go first. So take it away, man. What do you think? USA finishing first, second, third, or just completely fucking this up in this World Cup?
Yeah, I'm gonna go a lot of ways, like different directions with like talking about the US. I have them in first in this group. However, I think their first place finish is heavily reliant on the fact that we are the host nation. I think sort of through the recent form we've seen from a lot of these squads and mixed in with the quality of what we know of like a Turkey and Australia, I think this is probably maybe the toughest group to predict. I think if this is like a group that you're taking in any like neutral site World Cup, like if you're throwing this group in Qatar, if you're throwing this group in Brazil or something like that, like it would be, I think, picked a lot differently. That Germany result gave me a lot of hope, despite losing that game. I think a lot of the, no offense, Miles Robinson, I thought was just at fault for both of those goals. And I think if he's starting in a World Cup, we deserve to have all the bad things happen to us that will. I will preface, I'm not one of those people that's hating on this USMNT side. I have them in first. I'm actively rooting for them to do good. Do I think there's limitations? Do I think there's mistakes that could be made in the defense or the midfield that will cost us games and will ultimately maybe not see us go the farthest I want them to? Yes. That does not mean I'm going to be one of those people that's like, yay, we did bad. Those MLS guys did bad. I can push my agenda, alt, so on and so forth. I want Miles Robinson. I want Christian Roldan if he's in there. I want any of those guys, if they're in there, to do well. I just sadly think that's not going to happen a lot of the times. Anyway, Turkey, that squad I think is phenomenal. I think I wouldn't be shocked. Maybe people say they have a better squad than the U.S. I'm going to have them in second. I have Paraguay in third. I think sort of based off of maybe more their more recent form. They lost a close game to us. I want to say they lost a close game 2-1 to Morocco, and they did get a 2-1 result against Mexico in there as well. This is going to be a tough team to go against. I think you're going to have a lot of fans from Paraguay in there as well. Australia, it feels weird to put Australia at fourth. I don't like putting them at fourth because of sort of the success that they've had. They've been a sneaky team at a lot of these World Cups. I think they have that lineage. I wish they had someone like a Tim Cahill in there. I think that's obviously sort of what they're sort of lacking in this squad. And I think ultimately we'll sort of see them be the reason I don't see them going through. I think if Australia has great success in this tournament, it's because there's a younger player or there's a player that really steps up and provides for them offensively. If not, I just don't think they have enough to go against these other three sides in there. So USA 1, Turkey 2, Paraguay 3, Australia 4.
Kieran?
Yeah, same thing as Isaac. I think the US will finish first. I think it's partially because they were a host nation for one. B, not the strongest group, I'll admit. But I mean, I've been kind of convinced by the past two friendlies for the U.S. Again, they're friendlies. They're not competitive games. But the way they played against Germany, I thought was very encouraging. Yes, they lost, but I thought we created some really, really good chances. I think we really tested Germany. I know there's that whole scrap between Weah and Schlotterbeck at the end of the game.
I just don't like Schlotterbeck.
But I was encouraged by the sense like there was like that togetherness. You know, we questioned whether they actually have this fight, where they really care. They showed it last night in that friendly game against Germany. So if they apply that to more competitive games, that could be encouraging. So I think the US will finish first. Beyond that, I'm a little concerned for them, but that's for later. Turkey, I had them finishing at second. I know every tournament we say they're dark horses and they never live up to that hype. But again, they have good players in the squad. I think they could be dark horses. My like surprise player of the tournament is actually Turkish, so we'll get into that a little bit later. So I'll put
Ooh,
Turkey at
okay.
second, Paraguay in third, Australia in fourth. Admittedly, I just don't know a lot about Australia. I don't know. I think they'd probably finish bottom of the group. But yeah, that's my
Yeah,
prediction.
definitely. All right. As you see from my table right here, you two have USA first, Turkey second. I actually have Turkey first, USA second, Paraguay third. I do agree with you guys. I think the USA. I think their first game will be against Paraguay, which is going to be a tough test, really tough test. Because the reason I have Paraguay in third and not over, over in Australia, for example, or Australia being third, is they did come in sixth into the CONMEBOL qualifiers. They did draw in points with Brazil as well, and they're a tough, solid defensive team with a few players and sparks in there, like a Miguel Amarion. And I believe they have another winger in there or midfielder called Enrico, who's going to be a tough challenge for when we play against them. Solid veteran pieces and strikers in there as well that always present trouble for any of the South American teams, from what I've seen. And going back to their defense as well, really their defense is the thing that makes this so tough. For us, the USA, it's going to be tough. They don't really have that enough creative spark, I would say, like compared to the USA or Turkey, that really put them above. And maybe Australia do pull off the miracle and pull through, so I wouldn't be surprised. But I'm just going to favor them in terms of the defensive physicality and the fact that they really did well in CONMEBOL. But going back to the USA, I just think this Turkey team has too much talent, in my opinion, and it's not because they're quote unquote like the underdogs or per se. I don't view them as underdog anymore. I view them as like that solid team that can make noise and stuff like that, but not really like make a noise or make a magical run. I just don't see it in them. But for this group, I just see them finishing off. Arda Guler has been really good so far to close off the end of the year with Madrid. Well, was really good to end off the year with Madrid. Um, 21, so he's going to be physically ready to go and be able to deal with the physicality that the U.S. or Paraguay might bring to them. Also, he has his dynamic partner in Kenan Yildiz, who I think is on the verge to like have his breakout moment. I think for the national team as well. So I can't wait to see him also dominate on that left hand side. Defense is always solid for them as usual. Coaching is for them as well, and I'm trying to look at their midfield. Like, you have Çalhanoğlu still at 32, Yusek, Ashan, Oscar. Like, they have some few players. The left back from Brighton as well. He's always killing it down there on the wings, and the goalkeepers as well. I mean, they're all like above 28, but it's experience and everything, which is going to matter for them. So I think they can beat a USA in that sense. Do you know where Turkey and USA play? If I don't,
Where they play? I know it's the
yeah,
last match. I can see where they end up playing
it
for that
might
one.
be at SoFi or it might be somewhere else. I don't remember too well, but I guess that's a benefit for the
Yeah,
USA as well.
Los
Maybe
Angeles.
Los Angeles. So I'll probably try to make it to at least outside SoFi to watch that. I'll probably be home for that one, but yeah, I think the talent. I think in that last matchup, I could just see Turkey pulling it through, but I think USA will have a good, comfortable wins over like a Paraguay and mainly an Australia and then a Paraguay too. So rooting for them. Hope it all goes well for them, and we'll have to wait and see what happens for the USA as well. But yeah, I think that's all of our group stage players that we have, and then we'll quickly go on to like our award things and all that stuff. But real quick for any of you two, based on your brackets so far, I can try to do my brackets as we do it right now, but I'm going to stop the screen. Any interesting matchup that you see from the way your brackets are set up? Like, I know some of you had this team in second place and this team in third place. So any interesting matchup that you can see from your group stage predictions that you can't wait to see that could potentially happen in the round of 16 or round of 32, I should say.
I know based off the bracket I did, I have Norway playing Brazil either in
Mhm.
the round of 16 or round of 32. I think that's going to be a very good matchup. We talked about Brazil's defense maybe being a little concerning. I would love to see how like Holland and Sorloth and even Jorgen Strand Larsen do against Marquinhos and Gabriel. I think that would be a very fun matchup.
Okay. Isaac, from you?
Yeah, I was trying to pull it up right now and see. Same thing. I had that Brazil Norway. I think another fun one, which would actually be the winner would play Brazil if they beat Norway in that game. I have Mexico and England in the round of 16, and I think that would just be a very fun matchup because I'm fairly certain you'd assume that would be England traveling to Mexico for that game. would not shock me if that's an upset just because of the environment that England's going to be having to face in. But it's also another one where I don't doubt the English quality to go in and get a result. But I think a mix of vibes and sort of what those two sides are going at it, I think would be very fun. Just because we've had it recently, like a U.S. Belgium in the round of 16 would be cool just because of how that match just recently went. Bit of revenge. Is it revenge, for 2014? If you really want to go back that far, that would be cool. And then I think the only other one that really stood out to me was there's Germany, France I have meeting up in the round of 16, and then Colombia, Spain meeting up in the round of 16 as well. And I think both of those would just be very fun matches.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Yeah, I think I'm with Isaac. I had the same one, Mexico versus England. Meeting up at the Azteca would be cinema, man. I mean, come on, dude. You don't think that? That's what I mean. Why I like Mexico being a co-host is their fans are gonna bring it to that game against the conquerors. You know what I'm saying? That's gonna be a fucking blast, man. I just can't wait for it. But we're gonna close off the show with our award predictions real quick. So, boys, who do you got for the Golden Boot winner? Who do you got winning it?
I mean, I said it, when I was predicting the groups. I think it'll be Harry Kane. I think he's the best striker, if not one of the best players in the world. I think England, a lot of what they do is going to go through him. He's got 63, 62 goals this year. He's just a monster. I think he'll get the Golden Boot.
Okay.
I think because they'll go decently far, and I think he's going to be the main producer in that squad. Jeff, you're going to be happy. It's your guy. I'm going Vinny for my Golden Boot winner. Yeah.
Do you think Vinny's gonna really the Golden Boot? He's gonna be the top scorer in the tournament.
I think Brazil's going to have a very good tournament as of now in early predictions, and I think if they're going to go very far, like I think they will. I think mathematically that would just mean he'd have to be scoring for them.
Okay, I went with a cop-out answer. I think Holland can do really well here. I think Holland, with the way that Norway's been playing, I think they can. The way I saw Senegal got opened up in that game against the USA, who's to say Norway, with the form that they've been in the qualifiers and the environment that they're going to go into, doesn't go in and Holland gets a quick, easy 2 goals. And against Iraq, I saw Iraq play. Look, it was a disaster class. It was just bad. I know they beat Bolivia, but I was not convinced by them. I said, dude, I think Holland can tear them apart. So I can see Holland just easily getting through. While Mbappe in that group can do the same thing, I just feel like France are just going to evenly divide their goals and everyone's going to feast. While I think Holland is just going to feast on his own and just get those goals. And I think he can get 1 or 2 against France as well. A crazy, built for the moment type of matchup. So I got Holland just dominating them in the group stages. I think they can go far too and do some stuff. So I'm gonna go with Holland. I think Holland can get around 8 or 7 goals in this tournament. Seriously. But then we can go next to a young player of the tournament. Who do you guys got for that one?
I mean, mine's a cop-out answer. I went Lamine Yamal. It's his first World Cup. I think Spain will go pretty far, and he is, again, one of the most talented players in the world. He led up the Euros a couple of years ago. Was amazing for them. I mean, especially with the group they have, I could see him maybe step heading a little bit with that group. I think that'll help. And yeah, I think a lot of what Spain will do will be through him as well. So I'll go Yamal as the young player of the tournament.
Got you. Isaac?
I'll go with gotta go biased, gotta go with the CONCACAF guy, not a US. I'm gonna go Brian Gutierrez of Mexico. I know he's been playing very well for them. And most recently, I think he had an assist in their matchup against Serbia. I think he's been another one I was upset that we lost when it came to dual nats. I think his just ability technically is just a step above who we've had sort of on the wings coming out of the youth level for quite a bit. I was disappointed to lose him to Mexico. I think he's currently playing in Liga MX, if I remember correctly, playing for Chivas. So I think he could also sort of be tied into that, someone that could be getting a move. I think he's kind of rumored. I think I've always seen him and stuff, or at least seen him as he's someone that I think is ready to take that next step to Europe from people and sort of from other content creators I've seen online. So I think if he goes in, has some good results for Mexico, a nice young player, I think he gets his move, and I'll go for him. I wanted to go someone that's not it's so easy to with Yamal and some of those other you have some of the guys that are they've been doing it for so long. Pedri's still a young player, but I can't. It's almost it's too easy there. But yeah, I'll go Brian Gutierrez.
Awesome. I'm torn between 2 players, both of Madrid players. I have to. I'm I have a feeling with the way Arda Güler closed off the year, man, with those 2 goals against Bayern, the way he finally found his role, the confidence that he's playing with. He's a type of player that I just feel like will get the names. I think the fact that he's playing against the USA as well, like that publicity that he's gonna get, like, oh shit, you saw Arda Güler what he did against the USA. I think he's one to break out. And then the other one is Endrick. I just love the way he played. I think their last friendly. I don't remember who. I can't remember the name because there's so many games. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry. I can't remember every fucking game there is. But he did that goal, and he's ever since that Croatia game that he came in, he's just been like that little spark that Brazil needed. But I just don't think he's going to start nor get enough minutes. While I think Arda will, but I feel like Endrick could break out. So I'm kind of giving my spoiler here. I think he can be the young player of the tournament, but I think he can be the breakout player. Like I think he's the player we're like, oh shit, like this guy's for real. Um, so I'm just gonna go out of that. I think he's gonna have his moments and stuff like that. So out of the Golden for young player of the tournament for me. Golden ball, and then we'll go Golden Glove. Who do you think is gonna be like the best keeper at this tournament? There's a few. You have Portugal. I think Rui Costa. You have John Garcia. I think he might be starting for Spain as well. Um, who else for any Emi Martinez is another one that can make it far. France, you have I think Magnan. England, I think they have Pickford in there. But who do you think? Who do you just see winning? Just based on like who might go far or win the whole thing, maybe potentially too.
My initial pick was Mike Magnan because I think France. I think they were one of the best squads that can go far. They have a very good defense. But then we were talking about it during the podcast that the Netherlands, they have a very strong defense. I think they have a favorable group, so they could get a decent amount of clean sheets. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Bart Verbruggen either. So I'll go either Magnan or Bart Verbruggen would be my 2 picks.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned. I think it's actually going to be Unai Simon or Simon for Spain in this tournament. I think he was their main guy through a lot of their qualification. I with him. I think Spain's going to. I mean, they're. I don't know. We talked about sort of like doing like our second round of predictions. So I'll wait for like my winner predictions after once we get into the knockouts. But like once I was going through my bracket, Spain was my winner pick. So I think through that, I think he's going to be. I mean, if he's their starting goalkeeper, I would also just default to say whoever Spain's keeper. If it is a Garcia, if it's Raya, if it's Simon, whoever that is. But I think if Simon's their starter, as it has been, I think he'll be the. I'm blanking on the specific name, but I believe he'll be the best goalkeeper for the tournament.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow you guys as well. I think Unai Simon is probably gonna get it, in my opinion. Whoever Spain's goal, like I don't know who's gonna be their main go-to starter because John Garcia has been picking up some games here and there. But I just see if Unai Simon's the star, then I think he will. Although he has been on form, so I am very hesitant. But I'll say this: Spain's goalkeeper. There you go. We'll say that. Let's go with. So we got the Golden Glove. We had this fun one that me and Isaac kind of came up with. What player is going to have their World Cup moment and get that transfer to a big club? I'm talking about like a player that's going to break out. Think James Rodriguez back in 2014, like the James type of player. 2018, it was, I believe, one of the Russian players, which was like Denis Cheryshev, who had that crazy breakout run. Or who was one of the, or Glovin. Remember Glovin, who was a big Arsenal transfer target back? I know that's a very niche name. He was like a Russian midfielder that Arsenal were looking at, and he had like a great World Cup tournament, so he popped off. In Qatar, I think we had Cody Gakpo was one. I'm trying to think who else. Oh, Enzo Fernandez, for example, he had a breakout moment, and then he went to fucking Chelsea, and then he became what he is. Any players, any niche players you see that might like you're like, oh, he's gonna break out, and then he's gonna get that big move. It can be very niche. It can be very big. Who do you got?
Yeah, I previewed it when I talked about Turkey. I think it'll be their left back, Ferdi Kadioglu. I'm a big fan of him. I think he's a very, very talented left back for Brighton. He's like, I mean, he can play anywhere. He can play left back, he can play right back, left wing, left midfield. That versatility is really key. That would help not only himself, but Turkey as a whole. He's so good technically. I mean, the way he can cross is really, really exceptional. Really good shooter as well. I think he scored a couple of goals for them in the qualifiers. I think he'll have a great World Cup. Basis on Turkey going far, I should say. And Brighton have produced great left backs like Kukureya, Stupinian. So there's already that demand paired with the fact that if Kadioglu has a good tournament, I think some big teams will want him. I would love if United signed him. I'll say that. I don't think we will, but I think some team would love to pick up Kadioglu.
Isaac?
Yeah. Yeah, my guy, not so much of a younger player. He is 25. Didn't have the greatest season for Atalanta, but I do think could still get a move. I've seen him even tossed around like in some small Bayern circles as well as an option. That's Charles de Ketterle for the Belgium squad. I know he scored against Tunisia. He scored against the United States. I know he's been getting minutes for that squad. I think we talk about sort of who's going to be on offense. We sort of know what that midfield is, and we sort of know the form that they've been on. And I think there's someone that, for me, could go very far in this tournament just based off of their recent form. And I guess I would default to, I think he's ones that could pick up some good results in those games. I think he could bag a few goals, maybe get a few assists as like a central attacking midfielder, and maybe make that jump from Atalanta, go to a larger squad, maybe move to a Prem side, or maybe get that sort of larger move as well. I mean, 25, still younger-ish, and can be a little bit more, physically there than maybe a younger player that you would maybe take the risk on buying. And so I don't really know any like younger niche players. I think Brian Gutierrez would be my other one, where I think I sort of talked about him with my young breakout. I could see a move from Chivas to maybe just a European squad in general. And who knows? Maybe there's another U.S. guy. I know, like Max Arfstin, one of our fullbacks. Who knows? Maybe he gets some decent minutes and he makes a move out of the MLS. Like I could go someone like that, but I go De Ketterle and then a Gutierrez.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with one nice one that I just saw right now. Antonio Nusa, left winger. One of the wingers for Norway, because I did say like I think Norway can get some big results in there. I think I saw where I have them placed in second. They would be going up against Uruguay in the round of 16, if I'm not mistaken. So, or somewhere around those lines. But I don't know. With the way Norway would play and getting goals, they need that electric winger and stuff like that. Plays for Leipzig as well. It's kind of like what happened with Enzo. Like he just popped off. He was like that young player that they massively needed, and he plays for a big team in Benfica. Benfica raised his price. Oh, you want him because he played really well in the World Cup? Oh yeah, 150. He's a type of explosive young winger that they could be like, you know what, you want him? You want him United? You want him Dortmund? You want him Bayern, Madrid? Any big team in the Prem, you want him? Oh yeah, 80, 90, 70 million because he had a good World Cup run. So I'm gonna go with Nusa from Norway. That's my little niche pick right there. Because I could have sent Edric, and I think my second one was Endrick. Obviously, I think if he has a great run, he's gonna immediately start for Madrid, or Jose would immediately put him in. And as a Richard broke earlier in the day too, Florentino Perez just won the presidency again. So, and he loves Endrick. So who knows? That's everything's aligning for Endrick to probably be another breakout star as well.
By the way, stay the F away from my players, Jeff. Too. We didn't get to talk about that. Tell your president to shut his mouth.
That's not gonna happen.
just tell him to shut his mouth, okay? Because like I got really, I'm getting a little red. You can see it on camera. I hate when teams do that. I don't know. It just always irks me. Sorry. Back to World Cup, but tell your president to shut that fuck.
So that's. I think if you guys can write that down for your breakup, I think. Let me write that down just in case I have to say that. But yeah, I think he'll be the next one to get a big transfer, and there could be a lot more. So all of us can be right. We'll be like, yeah, that's our breakout player. There can be like 3 or 4. I remember the last one. It was like 2 or 3. It was like Enzo Fernandez. I think Emi Martinez kind of had a breakout year in the sense that he became from normal to like elite. I think Gakpo too, and some of the Moroccan players. Caicedo too, yeah, Caicedo was one of them. But yeah, final 3 that we have here. Who is gonna be your most overrated or disappointing team? Who's gonna fucking just completely fucking? This is your hot take moment, guys. Clip this shit. You're gonna get picked on, bullied on, or you're gonna be a god from this pick. Who's gonna be your most disappointing team?
I can go first if you can.
Yeah, you can go ahead, Isaac. Yeah.
One by just winners standards. I think maybe an Argentina could disappoint just by comparison. Like there's a chance they play Portugal in the quarterfinals. There's a chance they lose that game. And I think you'd say maybe defending champs going out in the quarters is just disappointing by those standards. I don't mean to say that I think they'll have a bad tournament. I think that's just an easy one there. And then I was really split between both Germany and England. Like I think that Mexico game, if they get that, that's a game they could lose. I think they'd have to play like a Brazil or someone after that. That's another game I think they could lose. Like their road is so tough. And I think for a team that's so important and people may be putting a lot of stakes on, like, if they have a good tournament, Kane and Ballon d'Or rankings, and you have Rice and his Ballon d'Or talks, this is a lot of stuff that people, even like the European, the English media has been putting a lot of stock into. This is another big World Cup that like I think a lot of legacies are going to be built on. And I could just say that's a continuation of their legacy of failure since 1966. And I think there's just a good chance that they really disappoint. And yeah, I'm buying into like the Germany results were not the most enticing against a U.S. squad. Like if they do have to play France in what would be the round of 16, like they can lose that game. You know what I mean? They didn't look great against us. If they're playing in like a Korea or something like that in the first knockout match, who's to say they don't lose that game? It's easy to say that they win that game. Obviously, it's weird coming from the Bayern guys, I think, saying that squad could underperform. I don't know. I think there's still just a little bit of worry in that squad. It doesn't seem like everything's clicking, right? I feel like from just watching them against the US, like I think we led them in what was it, like chances or possession, stuff like that in the second half. It's weird. Not the most encouraging result against the U.S. squad. Even some of the circles I saw online weren't the most enticed sort of with that result. So I'd go either England or Germany in there as well.
Yeah, Germany was one of my teams just because I have them going up against France in the round of 16. I think France would beat them, and by German standards, going out that early would be very disappointing. But the team I really want to go with, and I don't know why I'm picking them, I just have this bad feeling, would be Brazil. I just get this weird feeling with Brazil. I know Ancelotti's the coach. They have a top manager now, but I'm just worried about them for some reason. I think their defense is a little questionable at times. Even midfield, like I love Casemiro. I think he's been great for United. But if Casemiro has a bad game, how would their midfield look? That's a concern I have. I think Neymar's interesting. There's going to be a lot of hype around him. I think a lot of media attention, maybe unwanted, because it's like a lose-lose. If you start him and they don't play well and they lose, they're going to get questioned for playing Neymar. But if they don't start Neymar, that's even more criticism. So that could really be a lot of distractions to that squad, which could negatively affect them. I'm going to go with Brazil being a disappointment in this tournament.
Yeah, I got another comable team alongside you, Doc. I think Colombia are gonna fucking fail come round of 32. I've heard too many people tell me that they're a dark horse. They're like a sleeper pick. They might go far into the semifinals. No, I got them out the group for sure because I just look at the talent that is in that group. I'm just like, yeah, they're gonna beat the hell out of all those teams. But no, they're. I'm sorry. Like, I might sound like a hater. I'm just hate watching Colombia this year. I can't stand. Like, I'm sorry. I cannot. Like, love y'all women, man. Love Carol G. Love Shakira. Love all of them. Love your artists too, bro. You guys are the best, arguably in South America for like the top artists, like Ryan Castro, Maluma, fucking J Balvin, all of this shit. But I cannot stand your fucking fan base. I cannot. You guys are. I can't stand that fan base, bro. I can't stand them. I can't stand them as a proof. I can't fucking stand them. I think they're overrated. The reason I have them out is just because I think they're just better than the talent. They have a few players in there, but they're not gonna go far like people were telling me. Like, they're not gonna go far. They're not going to the semifinals. They're not. Stop those combos. Yes, we're gonna dance with them, but that's it. They're gonna crash out in the round of 32, round of 16, but no quarterfinals, no semifinals, no finals, no nothing. That's it. And it might be disappointing too, by the way, too. So that's my hot take. Dark horse for you guys. Who you got? Real quick.
I have two. I'm really split here. For one, I want to go Norway. I think we talked about they could really cause problems with that attack of Holland, Sorloth, Odegaard, who's been improving in recent week. Well, in the final stretch of the season with Arsenal. And my other pick, it's hard to say if this is a dark horse team. I think the Netherlands, I know they're historically a great footballing nation, but they've never won the tournament, and it kind of feels like we sleep on them sometimes in terms of how far we think they can go. I think it's a good squad. I think that defense, I know they don't have a great attack, but that defense could really help them grind through results, whether that's extra time and pens. I think either the Netherlands or Norway would be my dark horses.
Okay. Isaac?
Yeah, Norway was my easy pick for them. Literally the exact same reasons Kieran had talked about. And I don't have them going far in the results, but I think the way that they're set up in the teams that they could be playing, I think they would be another one. I think that's Morocco, I think, where I have them in my group. I think they could end up playing like a Brazil and an England and then another team if they go on. And then I think if you're knocking off at least a Brazil and an England, like that's just a dark horse. That's kind of the definition. No, I mean, quality wise, like they're there. So like, I mean, they're still a top 20 FIFA World League nation. I wouldn't shock me if they're top 10, just especially with the results they've had continentally. Like they are just a good side. So I don't know maybe if it's dark horse, but I think compared to the rest of casuals of like if you're polling your general populations, it's Spain, Portugal, Argentina, France, you know what I mean, England. Like I think because they're not in that upper echelon and like a team that would go very, very far, I would have them as my other dark horse.
Yeah, I have Netherlands too, Kieran. I just feel like everyone's talking about Argentina, a France, a Spain, a Portugal, an England, but I really think Netherlands have the chance to really like beat the crap out of like not probably France, but like they can knock them out. I can see that. Like I can favor it. I can see why because of the defense, the consistency, the roles that everyone has. Probably not a Spain, which might kind of give a spoil to my golden ball and who might win it, but I just see Netherlands. I think not enough people are talking about them. They have arguably a top three midfield in the world with who they have with De Jong, Gravenberch, and Reinders, and whoever else. Xavi Simmons is in there, and even their attack, which I know is not the best in the world on form or whatever. It's a tournament. It's for the national team. All that form shit, I think it's thrown out the waiver. Like I think a Gakpo can turn up. I think a Xavi Simmons can turn up. I think a Weghorst, a Depay, who's been, I've heard good things about him when he was down in Brazil. So it's like Netherlands. I don't think enough people are talking about them. So I got Netherlands for me. But final one. We're not going to do our winner yet because again, a lot of things happen when we do our brackets for like the round of 16, round of 32, what it might turn out to. But Golden Ball winner, who do you got? Who do you think is? I think usually it's not even the one who wins the World Cup. It's just like who's the best player, pretty much. Who do you think is going to just be the best player at this tournament? Who's going to win that shit? And just yeah, what do you think?
Based off how far I think they're going to go, I will go with Kylian Mbappe in this tournament. I know France is such a good team that you said they might split the goals evenly across that front line. But in terms of Mbappe himself, he has gotten so much ridicule these past 2 years. He's joined Madrid. They haven't won the league. They haven't won the Champions League. You look at PSG, they've won 2 Champions Leagues. Everyone's saying, is Mbappe the problem? Is he this really like toxic superstar we think he is? Imagine though, if he has a great World Cup, either gets the golden ball and France wins it. I mean, 2 World Cups and a golden ball. I don't know if you could really question him too much after that. I mean, I think a World Cup would outrank a Champions League, let alone 2 World Cups. I think it's going to be a big tournament for Mbappe on a personal level. So I'm going to think that he's going to use that motivation and win the golden ball.
Isaac?
Yeah, I think one, because I can have him very far and I have him as my top goal scorer. I think if you are the top goal scorer and your team goes far, like I'm going to have Vinny in that conversation. And then I kind of had like 3 names from Spain. I know we weren't doing winners. I don't like right now, just that bracket, Spain were my winners. I do think the team that wins this or goes very far is going to be like, this is going to play a huge role. And I don't really know like what the voters are going to look for. Like I could see someone be like a Pedri maybe being in there for sort of like being able to dominate, especially maybe being pegged as like the leader of a Spain midfield that really takes that team very far. I think that would hold him in very high regards. Yamin, I think if Spain goes very far, if they win it, he's going to be producing a decent bit. I think it's fair to say, let alone, no offense, I think there's going to be a little bit of PR in this as well. Like if you're very good enough to get that award and then on that added boost, there is that name value. I think that either helps or at least puts you in that running. And then kind of my like sneakier one out of that is, I'm going to probably butcher the pronunciation, or Yazabal. Strictly because I was just looking at the Spain squad. He gets numbers in that Spain squad. I think he led them in, I want to say, assists. He was up there in goals in Euro qualification. I think it's another one where, like, I think maybe technically, quality-wise, you take a Pedri, a Rodri, a Yamin over someone like or Yazabal. But if he has 4 goals and 5 assists or 2 goals and 5 assists throughout the tournament and was their lead producer, is that something you can really shy away from maybe when it comes to that sort of that final decision? So I'm going someone from Spain. Maybe that's the cop out, but someone like a Pedri, Yamin, and then like I guess my sleeper one would be someone would be like an Oyarzabal.
Karen, you're gonna like my pick. You're gonna love my pick.
I think I know where this is going.
I gotta go Bruno, bro. I have a feeling, bro, he's gonna just do it again, bro. I just have this feeling with the matchup that he has in that group, he's gonna break some type of assist. I don't know how. If someone wants to search it up as I rant a little bit, I think he can be the one to break the assist record this World Cup. I just look at that matchup against Uzbekistan, the players that he has around him with Leao, Ronaldo, everything. He's just gonna dominate. Like I think he just is. He has that protection behind him with Vitinha and Neves, which is so big. He hasn't had that. Like he does. He's dominating with United with just Casemiro and Kobe Mainu. So now you're adding Vitinha, Jao Neves behind him, and the worst case scenario, you have Paulinho who come in or whatever. Then you have Neto and Pace around him. You have Nuno Mendes too. Dalot. You just have depth for him around him. He will be the best player on this team. He is their most important player. based on the age that Ronaldo and him are at respectively. I don't know. I just feel like he's gonna dominate with numbers. And then kind of like what Isaac said, there's other few players in there in the mix too, but I just think Bruno might be the one. Spoiler potentially for my winner too, who I think could be Portugal. Um, Lamine is probably my second pick, just because the story wise for him, if he goes into that Uruguay game and comes in, I think he's gonna rest up for like the first two and then come into that Uruguay game. Has a great matchup, boom. The PR for him is gonna go insane. So that's my second pick. But watch out for Jude Bellingham. If England do well, I think he's going to be the key as well. Probably getting some goals and assists and having some key moments in play as well. So I think he's another one that can win the golden ball if England go far. And then yeah, I think those are probably my top three, like Yamal, Jude, and number one being Bruno for me. But yeah, I thought Bruno winning the golden ball. I think he's going to do something magical at this World Cup. I can see it. So yeah, that's all we got for our awards, and I think that's really it for this episode. I know it's a long one, boys, so I thank you for tuning in. I know we had like blame FIFA, man. We've had like almost how many groups is this? Like fucking 16?
48 teams, baby.
48 fucking teams. Jesus Christ. I don't know how we're gonna be able to watch this whole I'm definitely gonna miss on Mondays and Tuesday games for sure. Kieran, real quick before we end off, we had this little fun question. I think I'll ask this Isaac too. What are some things that foreign travelers need to get ready for this World Cup, man? I know you're from Bradford, PA. There's going to be some games in Philly. What should people watch out for while they're in Philly? Because I know you're a Philly native or Western New York type of guy. So what should they watch out for?
I think one thing, and this is like a serious thing, is the whole thing around firearms in the U.S. I mean, there was a shooting in Kansas City close to England's base camp. That is a concern. The whole guns thing. Definitely also concern over the crackdown on law enforcement. On like a serious note, that's a huge problem. I mean, there are countries who, I think Ivory Coast, for example, their fans aren't even allowed in the country with visa restrictions or whatever. So I would say, like, I know we try and be lighthearted in this podcast, but on a serious note, it is law enforcement. Those pullovers, those checkovers, that is a concern. I would say that just to be aware of your surroundings, that's key. The other part of it, I know the U.S. gets slandered for tipping culture, but things are very expensive here, especially with the tips. Like I think I got an email yesterday or the other day. You can't even bring a reusable water bottle into the stadium, so you have to pay for water now. So
no, they reversed that. I think they did reverse that. Enough like I saw something like Zoran, and enough people were complaining enough because like they were charging like $8 something for a bottle of water, which is like that's crazy. I think environmentally someone's stuck in.
Yeah, so I would say the expense. It's like it adds up. The parking, the food, the tips, that just adds up. So be careful with your surroundings and how much you're spending.
Yeah, either get ready to fast. From my experience, get ready to fast. Like don't eat for like good, or just grab a big fucking meal before 2 hours before kickoff, and then you're good to go. Isaac, what is your like niche? And shout out to you, Karen, because you're absolutely right for the safety of the game. You know, just watch out for any of those type of things. But Isaac, real quick as we end off here.
To echo a lot of like what Kieran's sentiment, I would agree 100% with that. Like, know your rights. Like, know what you're given when you're in this country. Know what obviously with the amendments, I'm getting that's kind of rambling there, but like seriously, know what you have, know what you can do, record things like that as well. Like you have freedom to do all that and so forth, and just be very aware of sort of the big brother that is watching everybody. I know that's kind of like doomsday to say, but I think it's something that we should all be more aware of, especially when it comes to this. Jokingly, for anyone that's used to it in Europe, American drivers, even though we have them here, they fucking don't know how to drive in roundabouts. So don't assume if you're in any roundabouts driving that the person's going to know what they're doing, because there's a chance where they just won't. So don't expect that courtesy, or expect that someone isn't going to be just trying to shoot through one of those. So very much watch out for that. Prices. And then again, jokingly backing off of it, like the heat's no joke. If you are from the UK, enjoy that. Welcome to AC world. I still don't know why you guys don't have it over there. So like first of all, enjoy that. But second of all, like, it is no joke. Like you will burn, you will fry. I'm only a little bit Irish, I joke. And for all the people coming over from Scotland, I'm sure there's a little bit of Scottish. Like I burn. I do not tan. I burn. I fry in the sun. I could only imagine what it would be like for someone there coming over. Like it is, especially if you're in those LAs and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. And I guess, I don't know, like maybe this, I don't mean this in like, oh, cool, like good for us. And our crazier people, our homeless people, like It's
Yeah.
real. Like those memes you see on the internet, like ha ha ha, funny Florida man. That stuff very much is real. Don't just stare at people. You know what I mean? Like on the
not
street.
stare.
Don't just watch that sort of stuff. Don't take things. Don't like the. Yeah, like I remember I saw someone complaining about like a German fan or something like that, complaining about like Atlanta and all that sort of stuff, and like seeing people in the subway. There are extremes of that. I think you're going to get a lot of people that are just going to see more people of color and a more diverse nation and be like, oh, I don't know how to interact around that because you're from like Sweden or something like that. No diss to like Sweden in specific. That was just the first like very white country that popped into mind. But like there is that level of like, yeah, a lot of that stuff, like Kieran said with the guns, like there is an element of truth to that. So just be very aware. Like common sense. That's really the strongest thing that's going to suit you over here.
Yeah. Both of you took a lot of my answers, so I'll give you a top 3 list. Homeless situation, and I'll bracket into do not look at them, and if you are going to look at them, just smile, wave, and just give a smile, give a little nod, and that's it.
They don't want to harm you, but be polite.
They want to, but yeah, just don't smile or don't look at them at all. Either if you're going to look and you actually look, just smile and don't look or whatever it may be. 101 North and South Freeway here for all my Los Angeles people. Do not get on that fucking freeway. And if you are, then you better be there like 4 or 6 or 7 a.m. in the morning, just before noon or whatever, rush hour, whatever the fuck it may be. Watch out for Western as well. I hate that street. So, and I know that's one of the routes to get to Inglewood. So whenever you do not get Western. Look for those little hidden streetways to get through neighborhoods and stuff. You might see some families, you might see some stuff, but it's better than being stuck in traffic on Western at 5 or 3 p.m. in the fucking afternoon. Have fun in Inglewood as well, but just watch out for some of the sub neighborhoods, and it's a very subsidized neighborhood. Just kind of helped out, but just watch out for some of the things, prices, and just have fun, man. And just I think with the good thing about LA, it's very diverse, so it's not gonna feel too bad, but you are gonna feel like you're in Mexico in some parts. You're gonna feel like you're in South Korea in other parts. You're gonna feel like you're in little Bangladesh in other parts. So that's a good thing. Have fun on it as well. Um, yeah, that's all I got. But just do not look at the homeless people. Just do not. I recommend you just please don't. Do not do it.
I wish our government looked at them more and did more things to help that out and help the situation. But for your own safety, just play things smart.
Yeah, man. So I guess that'll be it. Kieran, what game are you going to for World Cup? For any of our listeners and viewers out there, hopefully
you teased it earlier based off Portugal. I'm seeing Portugal versus Uzbekistan in Houston.
There we go.
So I'm really hoping that like Bruno balls out in that game with like 2 or 3
assists. What day is that? What day is that on?
That is June 23rd. That is on a Tuesday.
Is that at Philly? You going to Philly?
No, it's in Houston. Energy.
Oh, Stadium. You're going to Houston. Oh, for all you people going to Texas, Kieran, get your sunscreen. Dude, if you gotta wear like don't socks, go in sandals, go in flip. Houston is no fucking joke. I'm just letting you know. I've been in Houston during the summertime. It's no joke. You people, if you're going to games in Houston, get your sunscreen, get everything. I'm from LA. It's hot here. That place though, another level. So, Kieran, just giving you a warning too, man. Watch out when you're down there. You're gonna get tan there too. So maybe go shirtless too. Maybe just go without the shirt.
I don't know if I can do that.
Kidding, man.
I'm sorry. I'm really not smuggling anything into the stadium. I'm shirtless. I couldn't be hiding anything. Sorry. No. What were you saying?
Isaac, any games you're going to or not?
No games. More watching. I think it'll just be more me and my dad on the couch. He's really the only like dedicated soccer fan. I'm sure my brother and my sister will be hopping in and out of here, but I think it'll just be a lot of nights on the couch, a lot of late nights on the couch. I joke with him like being a teacher, having to get up early in the morning. I'm like, some of these I'm gonna be like, well, you gotta stay up. Like the US are at 9:00. He's like, I'll do my best, but yeah, so it'll be a lot of nights on the couch, which I'm very much excited for.
Yeah, I'm gonna be up for that one too. USA at 9 p.m. because I will be in NYC during that time too. I will be Eastern Coast times. No games for me, unfortunately. Too much money. I'm saving up as well. But there will be some fan festivals here that I will be going to during the weekend with Aricho, so I can't wait for that as well. But that'll be all for World Cup. I can't wait. By the next time you see us, ladies and gentlemen, either we're streaming like one more thing for fun content, or we're literally going to recap like the first match or the first 2 match days of certain games. I will recap and decide. We might do some watch-alongs along the way as well, so tune in for that. To my co-host here, thank you for the time. I know it's a long episode, but we have a long group, so I hope you don't mind that as well. But you were listening to the Out on Loan podcast. This is episode 46. And World Cup time. Good luck to all the nations. Be safe to all the fans out there. And I hope we have an amazing, memorable fucking tournament, bro. For real. Thank you and have a good rest of your evening.